You don't have anything to be ashamed of or feel frustrated, humiliated, because you tell the truth. But imagine if you knew you were lying. Imagine imagine the frustration, the humiliation, the embarrassment, and the shame you would feel. All these God Almighty haters feel. In other words, do you think any of them are that dumb? Like, a lot of them have Harvard and Yale degrees. So if you study the light down here, you think any of them are that fucking stupid that they don't realize that God is really down here channeling through me, to me, and not through me, moving human cells in real time?
Peter, I believe God is really channeling through you since 2006.
No, I know. So imagine the humiliation and the frustration and the shame and the embarrassment when a Harvard and Yale grad who got straight A's is pretending one of the Godfather cartoons is God. Like, how, imagine being them, like how unhappy and miserable you would feel. Can you imagine that? I mean, do you think any of them are that stupid? In other words, you heard of, I don't know what they call it, slow brain people now, like they used to call retarded people. What do they call them now?
I think they call them retarded people.
No, they changed it now. With that woke shit, you can't say retarded. You have to say like slow-minded, or I don't know what it is. Not whatever the word is. But anyway, there's a kid in over here who lives across the street, and he's retarded. So I took him over here, show him the movies, and I go, so Johnny, do you understand? God's in heaven. I'm down here. God goes in me and walks me, takes over my body and my muscles and my vocal cords, and does all this cool, humanly impossible stuff. Like, here's a scene walking me blindfolded from tree to tree to tree, and sticking a knife in the trees, and then going in between the trees, and then walking me down a hill, spinning the whole time, and then walk me over to a camera hundreds of yards away and smash the camera off the camera stand, and it falls over. And so, do you understand that? And he goes, yeah, I get it. God's in heaven, and you're down here, and God goes in you. And that's how you're able to do it, because God could do anything. That's why they call infinity or infinite. So how come that retarded kid and you could understand, and I can understand, but someone who has 100 million, pun intended, gazillion, law degrees and doctorate degrees from Harvard and Yale and Princeton and Dartmouth, and they say they don't understand. They don't understand that it's the light down here. Do you believe them?
So are you comparing me to a retarded Dominican Republican boy?
No, I put me in the same boat. I'm comparing you with every common sense, logical, honest, non-nut job human being that doesn't have an ego that's so big that would fucking cognitively choose to lie about God and try to disgrace God down here with blatant scientific evidence. I mean,
then you already know.
What?
And you just said it.
Huh?
You just said it.
I said what?
You said that about the ego and stuff. You said it. You answered your question.
No, I know, but I of course I know the answer. It's so logical. Everyone knows the answer. So that's why when you say they don't understand, they were raised on something, do you still go by that? Or is it just their egomaniacs, brainiacs, reflaniacs, and seleniacs? In other words, do you believe those Harvard and Yale law professors and doctorates and all that? Do you think they're really that fucking dumber than Dumb and Dumber? Or do you think they're blatantly looking you in the eye and lying? In other words, they have a white shirt on and they look you in the eye and they go, it's purple. Is that what they're doing?
Right. I think it's the latter there, Peter.
Exactly. So what's more hilarious and interesting in the history of the world than this, what's going on in our modern day? Like, is anything more fascinating than that? Like, it's like a movie. It's like a psycho movie that no one would go, that's too far-fetched. It would never happen. Like, the movie is great, but it's just too far-fetched and too, like, obviously never going to happen that God would come down here and do all this. So forget this movie. I'm not even going to watch it because it's just way too far-fetched. It's like beyond imagination. No human brain could comprehend that ever happening. But it is happening. So what's more interesting and fascinating and hilarious than that? Huh?
I don't know.
In other words, you have free will. You could say what you want. Do you think there's something more interesting and fascinating and funny? Huh?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree 100%. So are me and you the nuts, or are the biggest nuts the people who cognitively lie and cognitively pretend one of those moronic, demonic cartoon zero scientific evidence God frauds is God? People with fucking 150 million degrees from Harvard and Yale on their wall. People running the United States, the vice president of this country, doing that Jesus is God swastika cross over his chest on worldwide TV. How fucking nutty is that? Huh? That's a human being running the supposedly most important freedom country in the world. An adult who graduated, I don't know what college, with what honors, and pretends he believes, he thinks, he chooses a cartoon God fraud that's immoral and so moronic and the most demonic. In other words, it's a man God fraud named Jesus